Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's show where we talk about our most recent 9-hour live stream, our reactions to this week's Game Awards, and some console rivals just announced, all in time for next year. Stay tuned to find out more. Hello, gamers, and welcome to episode 12 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. I'm joined by my usual co-hosts in the Stadia seats this week, recovering all the way from the Midlands, our techie teacher himself. Oh, hang on a minute. There seems to be a problem with Tom's microphone this week. Let me just check. Oh, no. Sorry, it turns out that Tom is actually had a bit of a late one last night. And during our 9-hour live stream that we ran over on twitch.tv/Sounds of Stadia and YouTube from Saturday the 14th, is actually unable to make this week's episode. I'll let you be the judge of why that may be. So to those listeners out there, you're stuck with just the two Northerners this week. Myself, Chris, and our man with the beard, destroyer of ice rinks, Richie.
Hello.
Is still here. Hello, Richie. Welcome
We're
to
the
this
best
week's
two
show.
anyway.
We are the best two by default. Yeah, Tom can't make it this week. We did see him this morning after we all woke up, recovered from many rum and cokes and some pizza. There's ample pizza left. I think we can both agree now that he'll probably be eating pizza for the next few days as
Probably,
well.
yeah.
Even though he was told no carbs. No
we ordered
carbs.
too much. Like, I didn't realize how big the pizzas were going to be.
Yeah, so for anyone just joining us now, we did have our first ever live stream. We ran it yesterday from 6 o'clock UK time, and we actually went till
It's about 2:30.
about 2:30 a.m. in the morning on Sunday morning. So we're a bit tired. We're fine in terms of being hungover. The two of us are fine. We've drove all the way back home. But yes,
Fair, Chris. We got up about lunchtime. Tom apparently been up since about 7.
but that's his own choice. That's
It
his
is.
own choice. He should have stayed in bed, and maybe he would have been well enough to join us today. But yeah, so Tom's not here this week, so you've just got the two of us. I would ask Richie usually how your gaming's been this week, but seeing as though we've spent the last 24 hours very close quarters with each other, I know exactly what you've been up to.
Yeah, and if anyone else wants to know, go watch the live stream.
Yeah, so for those who didn't get a chance to tune in live, the benefit of YouTube and Twitch is it stores it there in the archive file, so you can jump in, tune in, and watch us play many Stadia games. We started off with Farming Simulator, we moved on to Samurai Showdown, and we wrapped up a good chunk of the night, a solid 6 hours, playing through the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, which I think was probably the best out of the lot in terms of rotating the seat and jumping in and getting them story chapters tick over.
To be fair, we did make very good church climbers.
We did. That was in Farming Simulator. There's much more than farming goes on in that game, it turns out. Yeah. If you're not quite into your arable land and your crop rotations and stuff, there's much more fun to be had. So it is this month's free pro game, so definitely jump into it if you haven't had a chance to. We bought a dog.
Fields.
We bought a dog as well.
Called
him Frodo. Yeah, you should really tune in and check that out. We gave everyone character names, backstories, and everything else. But as that was a thing, I think we just want to start by saying a huge thank you to everyone who did join us, including Tom. He was there last night. We have video proof he was there during the live stream, and I think without him, a lot of it probably wouldn't have went as smoothly as possible.
But it would have been a disaster, just me and you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it would have been running off a potato. But for the most part, everything went fantastic. We had no glitches, and I think on the journey home, Richie, we were sharing a few thoughts on how it went. And I think it's just in general, we were surprised how we got a solid 9 hours of streaming without a glitch, any kind of like major hiccup, or it just seemed seamless.
There was a few minor audio issues which were very easily resolved. Usually too many mics too close together.
Oh yeah, that's just us not being sound designers and stuff, and weren't really aware of reverb and room echo and stuff. But in general, the chat kept us straight, and we got plenty of laughs, plenty of jokes and stuff out of it. But in general, I think very impressed, and I think the biggest thing we took away from it is the benefit of Stadia running from a Google service standpoint. Is it took all the strain off the PC or the computer that you're using. So it was really, really easy to just mirror the screen onto the video stream, and we just kind of ticked over nicely, jumped between it. and it worked really well. So hopefully we'll be bringing some more of those to you in the future. Now we've got a good understanding of what we want it to look like. Obviously, all your feedback was appreciated. You really made it a great kind of solid 9 hours of streaming. And obviously we couldn't have done it without the people who jumped in to join us.
Yeah. And anyone who wasn't there on the night and decided to watch it since, if you've got any feedback, please just get in touch with us.
Yeah, definitely. We mentioned throughout the stream it's a community-based thing. We want to make it for you. So definitely, the more impressions and ideas we get back from you, the better we can cater to what you're looking for. And I think we wanted to give a special shout out as well to people who joined us and followed us on Twitch and YouTube throughout the chat. So there was Dank_Uzi, Happy Optimist 1, Phil Double G, Wild W Pony, who actually was our Buddy Pass winner.
Yeah, so he was with us for quite a while last night, so thank you for that.
Many hours, yeah. And he's another one of those Texans out there who tunes in and listens. So we've got a small little fan base growing in Texas. And we do appreciate it. And we're really happy that you won the Buddy Pass because, yeah, you kept the conversation going. We found out we learned a lot about you, and you no doubt did about us as well. So we really appreciate that. We've got Hollypops396 who's in the chat as well. Natural Tilts,
whose name I misread last night.
Yeah, Natural Tilts. So
I had my laptop on the floor at the time. I was like, I double check.
So we'll leave that to interpretation of what Richie thought Natural Tilts might have been. We've got Ashley Exer. I think that's how that rolls off the tongue. And Tate Will 117. So there were many other people who jumped in. There was quite a few who jumped in on YouTube as well. I think there was Gamers Hometown, had many questions. Chase from the This Week in Stadia podcast. This Week on Stadia podcast jumped in. We've since got an email from him. We're going to look at some collaboration work in the future as well. But I think overall, 9 hours and like 2 minutes of live streaming. First one under our belt, total amateurs. And I'm quite happy with how it went.
Yeah, me too. I wasn't expecting to go for 9 hours, but that's what happened.
Yeah, we were clearly having fun and it just kept going. So like we said, jump in, click that. We're going to look at actually clipping the Tomb Raider segment out for the future. So if 9 hours is slightly too much for you to digest, it's only longer than an entire series of Game of Thrones or something. But if you've got that time in your life to throw away, by all means, watch that full stream. But if not, we're going to look at cutting the video down into specific segments and focus on Tomb Raider because we know people enjoy a good Let's Play. And we got through many chunks of that game in chapters. So we're going to look at breaking it up and see how we can best distribute that across YouTube. Because I believe we ended up with about 30 gig video files of...
Tom was starting to get worried about his hard drive capacity.
Yeah, because we've been streaming for so long. So yeah, we'll look at breaking it up and distributing it. If you've got any ideas, let us know.
And everything we actually streamed was streamed via Google Stadia as well.
Yeah, that was the amazing thing. It just ran totally out of the cloud without any problems. So to kickstart this week, Rich, it's going to be probably a slightly different show, missing our third wheel. But he will be back in the future. Hopefully he'll have recovered by then and he'll have ate all the pizza, tidied his house and got everything back in order. But I think if we look at everything we've got on the dock, there's obviously a big week in gaming with the Game Awards. So I think we wanted to kick off, Richie, then, see how you cope with this by jumping into...
the super sexy special Stadia story segment, a.k.a.
The News. See?
We can't even think it when there's only two of us.
Who needs Tom?
I do think he does it better than me, but...
No.
Since he's not here...
There you go. So we mentioned we had the Game Awards this week. Lots of stuff happening, lots of announcements. If you were paying attention or you got a chance to jump in and watch it, you may have noticed a slight absence of Google Stadia. They were far and few between on display. You managed to watch them all, I believe, Richie.
I watched the whole Game Awards. And Stadia's only presence was a couple of what, in my opinion, terrible adverts.
Yeah, so just at the top of the show then, I watched the Game Awards. I watched about 2 hours, early hours of the morning, and then I managed to catch up with the rest of it the next day on a recorded show. But I know prior to the show starting, Google Stadia, the actual official account, and the Game Awards official account tweeted out buying it for Christmas. They tweeted out a Christmas promotional advert. They shared that advert with the guy with the big crazy afro hair. And throughout the show, I think it was segmented in about... I saw it twice, I don't know if it was in any more than that, but
I recall
interstitial
seeing
in
it twice myself.
between awards and kind of ad breaks. I saw two during my
I don't know.
watch.
That advert, it feels so like 90s in its style, which is weird for what is meant to be cutting edge technology.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice that they're trying to get across with that. If you've not checked out the advert, just YouTube, Google Stadia ad, and you'll see it right at the top. But in general, yeah, the Game Awards went off without a hitch. There was plenty of announcements, so I thought we'd start by drilling down the news of what was actually announced at the Game Awards. Um, First and foremost, before we do delve into this, nothing for Stadia. We
No,
should mention that now. There was no surprise, even though they initially started off on Twitter by promoting each other's content, nothing was actually announced throughout the show.
it's
And
perfect platform for it though. They could have came out with a killer reveal there and then. It would have been great, but
yeah,
they didn't.
they didn't. They didn't. They're biding the time. We're in beta. Remember, we keep telling ourselves that we're in beta. But
It's
disappointingly, or interesting, depending on what side of the fence you stand on, the trailers and content that was shown for games we know for a fact are coming to Stadia also seem to be missing the Stadia logo. So we're talking Borderlands information, Cyberpunk. They showed an entire segment of the sounds of Cyberpunk, and it was similar, not to be confused with Sounds of Stadia. It was the sounds of Cyberpunk, and they had a full orchestra showing an amazing cinematography piece, stitched in with that kind of synth pop music that's going to be obviously
yeah, it
rampant
was
throughout
really
the
cool.
entire. Yeah, it was awesome. It was very cool. But then yeah, at the end it said PS4, Xbox, PC, and no Stadia, which
Yeah,
we know it's just a tiny little logo you need to just get at the end. So
it raises questions that probably don't need raising.
it's just surely whoever's commissioned to make the kind of final image that's on the big massive TV that they have at the show, just just Google Stadia logo, copy and paste it in, and it's
Yeah,
done. That's your job done. Find out what platforms it comes to. So whether
yeah.
this is again game show production or Stadia Direct, I'm sure there has to be some kind of conversation around the marketing of it. Again, we've discussed it in previous episodes, but
Yeah.
common sense marketing that just doesn't seem to
I
be happening.
For me, the biggest victim of this one was actually Borderlands, because Borderlands 3 DLC is out now, I think. Usually, this is where I look to Tom to correct me, but he's not
No,
here.
he mentioned it this morning.
Yeah,
'Cause it was announced.
it,
It comes out next
yeah.
week,
And there was
or
no Stadia
later this week.
logo
Sorry.
in the trailer,
Yeah.
so
So there was
that's not a
no
Game Awards thing. That is Borderlands. That's Gearbox.
Borderlands. So yeah.
Whoever cut that trailer.
So there's Borderlands DLC coming out, but we don't know because Borderlands is coming out in December for Stadia. That's confirmed, December. And as of time of recording, we're on the 15th of December, which for those of you who've ever looked at a calendar or used time as a way to navigate your day,
For those of
you'll
us
probably
who've
know
used
there's not
time.
long left. There's literally, by the time you probably listen to this, there's about 2 weeks and a day or two, give or take, um, across the Christmas period for this to come out. So we're waiting. We're still waiting.
You're running out of time. Like,
We're not on days.
if I'm a developer, I want all my games out before for the year, because it's the Christmas period.
Yeah, I want to know what I can play, and if I
Yeah,
was buying anything for my children, I'd like to know I can get them this gift for Christmas, essentially. Um, but that was just one story, kind of covering the overall Game Awards. There was a big announcement that came, which I wasn't expecting in the slightest. None of us predicted it last week,
no,
but right,
I never had anyone at all predict this one.
yeah, but right, not even rumors, but right at the
No,
top of the show, Microsoft came out swinging with the reveal and name announcement of the new Xbox. So officially known as the Xbox Series X. So they've dropped the one moniker, which was probably a smart idea.
yeah, the one
Uh,
branding made sense for the Xbox console at the time of launch, but as it developed over the generation, it just
mhm.
didn't make much sense anymore.
Yeah, so this is going to be Google Stadia's one of the biggest rivals
Yeah,
for next gen. So going into
yeah.
2020, we'll have Stadia Base will be out and alive, as will the Xbox and as will the PS5. So things are starting to get real. They're cooking up heading into next year. And yeah, we got a big reveal. What are your thoughts on the actual design and appearance of the Xbox, Richie?
The appearance is a bit weird for me because we used to a bit of it's quite a almost looks like a mini PC tower where we used a bit flatter consoles which will go on like a TV stand. So there might be some concerns like that, but I'm guessing it is. I'm guessing this is probably the Project Scarlet version that we've seen because it is a series of consoles, not a single one.
Hmm.
So I think this might be the absolute souped up one, I guess. And so yeah, maybe it just needs that extra space for cooling reasons.
Yeah, I
But I
mean,
think
we know they're working on a one that doesn't take discs, doesn't have a
yeah,
disc tray. They've already confirmed that, I believe. So, you think that it's going to be Xbox and then Series X is this version obviously was announced. You feel like there's going to be another Series S, and then
I, I
they're
don't know.
going to obviously label them.
I think Series X might be the overall branding for this generation of consoles, and each one will be probably the Xbox Series X, whatever, Scarlet,
Yeah,
Anaconda,
XS,
whatever it is. What was it,
yeah,
Lockjaw or something?
Lockhart, maybe.
Lockhart. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
there's meant to be free, isn't there?
Who knows? But either
I've
way,
heard three
yeah.
different ones flying around, but we don't know what they are yet. So,
But
but either way,
in terms of visuals, yeah, for anyone who's not seen it yet, it's essentially it's a big black rectangular block that may look like a fridge if it was scaled up, may look like a wireless speaker you may have in your home. From the front, from the reveal from the front, I actually thought it was going to be a mobile. I thought the Xbox logo was like a camera on a mobile phone when you look at it. But essentially, yeah, it's sleek on all sides. It's got a disc slot down the bottom left of the front, little Xbox logo on the top left, and then it's got some kind of dipped cooling vent on the top, which was glowing Xbox green during the live reveal, which it did look futuristic and very cool.
we've got to look
Um,
at the gamepad as well.
yeah, we got to look at the new gamepad, which features the actual D-pad is from the Elite Series controller. So it's
Yep.
nice that they're adding something premium to the entry level one that we know of.
I
And
noticed an extra button on the pad. On,
yes, there's a
I'm
share button they've added.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably a capture button of some description.
Yeah, it's I mean the PS5, the DualShock 4, and then we know the PS5 controller has this feature already. We know Switch has a capture button, and we know Google has the capture button as well. So it makes sense that they just follow what everyone is currently asking for
Yeah,
out of their controllers.
it looks like an Xbox gamepad. That's Can't really
Yep,
say more to be honest.
it's about standard. But out of nowhere, we had this reveal. I know there's been some jokes and memes already going around about because it looks like it can stand upright. People are concerned it won't fit in their entertainment cabinets. But I think Xbox have already confirmed it can be altered and turned on its side. But until we really see its size in comparison to other everyday items,
The
it's
only
hard to
real
judge from a blank
yeah,
image.
the only real comparison is we got against the Xbox gamepad.
Yeah,
It
for
looks,
a
I mean,
scale
height
size.
wise, it looks about maybe 2.5 Xbox pads, and width wise is probably roughly one.
Yeah,
I don't know if that means anything to anyone, but
I
that's the
mean, to
sort
be
of
fair,
scaling we have.
at a first glance, if you cut it in half from top to bottom and line both sides up
Yeah,
alongside each other, you'd have about the average size of a current Xbox.
yeah, it just looks a bit
It's just because
fatter.
it's more vertical than we're used to
Yeah,
traditionally seeing. I think that's why it looks a bit standout. But sleek bit of tech. We did get the specifications as well, so we can compare it to Google Stadia. So they announced the CPU will be custom AMD Zen 2 chipset, accompanied by a custom GPU built in on the AMD RDNA architecture, whatever that means. Tom, you know what that means, being a technology. Oh wait, you're not here. Never mind.
yep.
We have ray tracing touted as being a standout capability, which we also know is going to come with the PlayStation 5. We've got confirmation of a SS drive or solid state drive, which means reduced loading times, which is very much going to be the battleground where the next gen is going to take place. Microsoft also claimed that the console can handle 4K at 60 frames per second, with the possibility of upping that to 120 with 8K capability as well, which in my opinion just looks like they're future proofing it.
I think some
For
of
stuff.
this, as we mentioned, there's various different, going to be various different editions of the X Series X. So
Mhm.
one might be capped, the base one might be 4K 60 FPS, the
Yeah,
top end might be 8K to 120. It's that kind
yeah.
of idea.
Definitely. So Windows Central have said that you're looking at, from a CPU level, it's going to have 8 core points targeted around 3.5 gigahertz. It's got a custom process, we know, and 12 teraflops is the big amount of flops that they're going for. Because we know Google Stadia came out initially with all the flops, but now
Yeah.
the new generation models are coming out with more flops.
How many teraflops does Stadia have?
Stadia was 10.7.
And how much do you think after that release do you think Xbox put in to make sure they beat it?
I'm not sure, because my curiosity would be, by the time this rolls out, this fixed box that's built, designed, it's in people's living rooms. How easy how easy is it for Google to just crank it up from their server end? Because this is what they've always touted, that they can just improve consistently in the back end. So they've got essentially a year to get their teraflops up to higher than the Xbox. But Microsoft has to go through a full production line and distribution. So theirs is set in stone. So that 12 it's going to be 12 for that entire generation of that box. Whereas Stadia, the miracle of everything being in the cloud, is it can be constantly iterated on without impacting people's improvement.
Definitely. The one advantage I think Microsoft has, apart from the more teraflops, is they're not, apart from their Project X Cloud, this box isn't going to be streaming it. So some of the computing power won't be taken up by the stream. So I think you're probably going to experience, I think if it was 12 versus 12, you'd probably still get better performance throughout the Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, it's local.
You have to buy a physical box.
Yeah, we don't know a price yet, but based on these specs, I know I've seen a lot of people in the industry analyze it and say for the cost of the components inside these future consoles, they're not going to be cheap. You're talking upwards of £400, $500, $600. I've heard quoted and threw around. So obviously we'll find out a bit more about that in the coming weeks and months, but it definitely caught a lot of people off guard when it was announced. So that was kind of top of the show. Alongside the Series X announcement, they also announced the new game, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, which is from the studio that they acquired, who actually, ironically enough, it was a PlayStation exclusive. And now it looks like it's going to be one of their ones they're going to tout for probably a launch title game, by the looks of it. Did you manage to watch? What do you think of the trailer for that one?
It was weird, but
it was very intimidating, wasn't it?
Oh God, I was on edge. I think it was a good teaser, and I don't know if anyone listening to this is a fan of Hellblade, let us know. I've not played a Hellblade game, so I can't really comment.
I know it got loads of amazing things touted last year at the Game Awards as well, because it's Ninja Theory, who are now on a Microsoft studio. But it was great. I mean, graphically, it looked fantastic as well. So if they can get anywhere close to that photorealism,
that's one thing they did say is in the scissor reel that they put out for the Xbox One X, and not the Xbox One X, the Xbox Series X. What they did say is everything you're about to see is in game engine.
Yeah. Yeah,
so that trailer was game engine. Yeah,
which is fantastic. That's what the future holds. It looks great. So quickly moving on through that, then we also got a reveal of Godfall, which is officially, I think, the first game to be officially announced for PlayStation 5. It actually ended the trailer by saying PlayStation 5 on it. Obviously, they were starting to get into the thick of these announcements now, and it's great that we're in a place where people are talking about future tech. Thoughts on Godfall?
I think Godfall looked pretty cool, but I think Sony would be kicking themselves because that should have been, oh my God, it's the first PS5 game, but it came after the Series X was announced.
It did, yeah. So everyone was still reeling back from the amazing Hellblade announcement and this brand new console, and everyone who was sat in their seats and everyone at home was probably whispering to other people, going, "Oh, can you believe that?" And then by the time the Godfall trailer was over, people were probably still talking about that.
You can imagine the Sony marketing execs just sat there going, "Oh, fuck."
Be quite interesting, but it's great. We finally going to start to hear this news, and no doubt going into next year, we're going to hear a lot more about exclusives. Nintendo announced Bravely Default 2, which is not the second game; it's actually the third. If I'm correct,
game because there's Bravely Second,
which was the second game. So again, Nintendo sticking very much similar like Square Enix to their great Japanese naming conventions.
I don't know what's going to be. I hope. I didn't play Bravely Second, but I did play Bravely Default. So I kind of hope it's actually just a direct sequel, and second is maybe an alternative or a spin-off, or I don't know.
It just might not even exist.
It's weird. It's a weird decision to call it Bravely Default 2 when you've already got Bravely Second, which I assumed was a direct sequel.
I mean, it's got second in the name, so...
Yeah. Ported to Switch. Port them all to Switch.
Port everything. Keep skimming through them. Then we got some League of Legends announcements. I know they did quite a lot based on the amazingly popular turn-based RPG. Teams kind of brought out a few. I think there was a few of those sprinkled throughout the night. Different kind of like
There was two League of Legends
spin-offs.
games announced.
A League of Legends story is what they called it, didn't they? I think one was Ruined King, and there was another one in there. But hopefully some of these are going to make their way over to Stadia because, as we mentioned at the top of the show, none of these had Stadia logos on them, even though they're perfectly within the right to distribute. They're not exclusives. They're not linked to any other platform. So fingers crossed.
I like the sound of these things. I think they're doing something interesting because the MOBA scene it's not for me, but that doesn't mean there isn't good stories and great lore there. So taking that lore and going, we're going to do something different with it. Yeah, it might get people interested in that world not from the core game.
Definitely. And I mean, we were laughing about this earlier on the journey back from the live stream. Later in the show came to the stage one Vin Diesel and his co-star from Fast and the Furious, where they had a bit of a conversation on stage. Had some confusion with the height of the microphone and such. And they announced
that happened so many times over the night. Everyone was just kind of squatting down.
I know, it was either just bring the microphone, stand up, or just you don't need to
take it off.
Again, you think these people would have worked in audio a bit better. They don't need to lean at the microphone. I say as I'm leaning across my desk, leaning into my microphone as well.
Yeah, so.
But I know we're ones to talk about audio problems. But they announced Fast and Furious Crossroads, which out of nowhere seems to be a racing game in the world of Fast and Furious with Vin Diesel's character. What are your thoughts on this game?
It looks shit.
It does look really shit, yeah. It looks like
For the record, I'm not a fan of Fast and Furious in the slightest, but purely from an objective point of view looking at this game, it looks like it should have been made 15 years ago.
Yeah, I know there was some weird excitement going on in the crowd, but I don't know if that was for Vin Diesel himself or his character Dominic Toretto. I'm quite a big Fast and Furious fan. I'm kind of lapsed now because I feel like it's just served its purpose and its cause, and they've kind of tried to milk that for as much as it's worth.
It just it reminded me just so much of that like 2000s era movie tie-in games where it's let's pump out a cheap game to go with the new franchise, but this isn't a new franchise.
Yeah, it was like a Need for Speed game where they tried to make it more about story and character, but it's clearly not. And the mocap on it looked, the graphics. To go from a trailer like Hellblade, and even the League of Legends trailers, the CGI on them, some of them are fantastically rendered, to gameplay of this Fast and the Furious Crossroads game, and it looked so bad.
I think what made this worse is because Vin Diesel, he was one that actually read out the nominations for Game of the Year, so we're right at the end of the show here.
Yeah.
And then it ended.
Yeah.
That was it. That was your final and one more thing moment.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah. There is rumours, however, that Valve dropped out last minute.
Rumours?
Yeah, I've heard rumours that Valve were meant to be at the Game Awards and last minute kind of dropped out. So it feels like there could have been a big Valve announcement after that, but with no time to actually do anything else.
Yeah.
Let's just hope Vin Diesel. Is Michelle Rodriguez as well?
Yeah, that's his co-host.
I was trying to remember her name. I think it might just be the case. We don't have time to do anything else. Let's just hope these two can
fill the gap.
Yeah, their star power can actually just fill the gap.
Yeah, and the show was ended with super actors, blah blah. Yeah, that kind of thing.
If the game looked good, it could have worked.
Yeah,
but it didn't.
When? Never. One of those things. So quickly just to run through, we got a Final Fantasy 12 remake trailer. We got a few more game announcements. There's one called Humankind. We got some DLC for Marvel Alliance 3. Some more trailers for some Magic games. My particular highlight of the show we mentioned earlier on was the Muppets. Yeah. So in previous years, the Game Awards have had Pepe the prawn, who's been on stage announcing an award with Ninja. And this year, we got Dr. Bunsen, who has no eyes, by the way. If you've never noticed, he wears glasses, but if there's actually no eyes underneath them. And his fellow lab assistant, Beaker, who introduced... I can't even remember what award they announced.
I can't remember. I'm looking up.
Well, either way, they were...
Games for Impact.
But yeah, they were joined on stage after announcing an Untitled Beaker game, which was a hilarious play on the Untitled Goose Game, which has swept so many people's hearts this summer. And they showed gameplay of it. That it has to happen. It has to be DLC. Beaker from the Muppets in the game being chased by a goose. Cut back to stage and there was a goose Muppet, causing havoc. It was just one of those really genuinely funny moments that was very well scripted, very well performed. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it just
think
brought a nice bit of humor to probably a part of the show that had like slumped a little bit. It went on for 3 hours, so yeah.
I I think it was for the wrong confronting the wrong award though. For Games of Impact, it's quite an emotional,
Yeah, just
serious story
derived
driven.
slightly
To have
from.
quite a
Mm,
whimsical like slapstick comedy bit just before that, I felt that was a little odd choice. It could have
yeah,
been a different award.
I agree. I agree.
Independent game, well, I don't think you could do independent game because Untitled Goose Game was
It
up for
was
that, but
yeah, and
that
then if
is
it won, it
yeah,
was like, oh, okay.
it's kind of all the awards, that's probably the one I wouldn't have picked.
Yeah, definitely. But they got it
Yeah.
in there. Like I said, I think it was
Yeah.
one of the highlights of the show. So I
Family
hope they
game,
keep
that
it.
would be
Yeah,
perfect.
it would family game. So we got a few
Nintendo
other
awards.
announcements for Apex Legends Season 3. We got some updates on Sons of Forest premiere, which looks scary as anything with the creepy zombie things. Surgeon Simulator 2 was announced, which I know is a VR game. But I think for me, the biggest surprise outside of the Xbox was the re-announcement of the Wolf Among Us 2 from
Yeah,
Telltale,
that
who
caught me completely by surprise.
they exist again. They went bust. They got bought out. They're back, but they're not back. But they've hired the same developers back to their team, but under a different name, and it's very very weird. But I love the first Wolf Among Us, so for it to be returning in some capacity, and it's an IP Telltale actually owned. The problem with a lot of their Batman and Walking Dead stuff is they didn't own the IP; they obviously just leased it for that series. But Wolf Among Us is one that they actually own, so they I imagine make the most money from it. So it makes
Yeah.
sense. It's probably one of the more interesting stories as well.
Yeah, it was really really cool. We actually were talking. Was it on the drive home or was that last night about Telltale games would be great to port for Stadia.
Probably a mixture of everything. All these last
Yeah.
24 hours just warp into one now.
Yeah.
3 hour journey down to see Tom, set up the live stream, 9 hours of streaming, 3 hour journey back this morning. So yeah, it's been a day
Yeah,
or
we had
two
a
or
couple of
three,
hours break from each other after he dropped me off home and recording this.
and then
But
jumping back in exactly. And then we lost Tom along the way. But yeah, great announcement. And we did say yeah, these type of games, the smaller ones, the non kind of AAA ones, should definitely be pushed by Google or Stadia or the publicists to get them out there.
they're
These
good
are like
library builders.
yeah, they really are. You could put the entire back catalogue of Telltale games on, and I would definitely jump in and probably live stream a lot of them because
It,
anything story heavy, it works well for kind of fan interaction and making your decisions and stuff.
you can do cheeky tricks like put like The Walking Dead season 2 on like Stadia Pro, so then everyone goes and buys the first one.
Yeah,
I mean, I
probably.
prefer they wouldn't do that. I prefer they put number one up and go. People tell me, oh, that's cool. Oh, there's 2 and 3. And
Yeah, well, funny enough, we'll kind of deviate from the Game Awards a little bit to bring it back around to some Stadia news. So we got 2 pro deals drop onto the Stadia store this week as well. After not having any Cyber Monday deals, and we covered the story last week about being a pro subscriber and not actually having a deal. It was a bit of ironic that I think the next day on the Mondays we got some pro deals.
they're listening,
So Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition dropped onto the pro deals.
which I have
As
bought.
did Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
as well. I think that dropped in price. Which actually, as of today, Mortal Kombat doesn't seem to be a pro deal anymore. I don't
Was
know
it
about.
Mortal Kombat? I thought it was something else.
I, I believed it was Mortal Kombat and Tomb Raider dropped down because I remember looking at them thinking that's Mortal Kombat doesn't interest me at all because I'm not into fighting games.
Oh yeah, actually, it's on the store at the moment. It's just Shadow of Tomb Raider,
Yeah, so it was definitely well either way, yeah. Oh,
and
actually,
that ends on Christmas Day as well. So if you're interested, it's dropped down to £20 from £49.99. So it's a good deal.
oh, there's a pro deal still for the Mortal Kombat 11 Combat Pack, but not the actual game. Huh.
I'm only seeing Shadow
Yeah,
of Tomb Raider.
if you go on Mortal Kombat and then scroll down to
Oh, okay.
add-ons, it's got the pack as a pro deal. But yeah, I could have sworn the game was a pro deal. But either way, the Tomb Raider discount was on there. You can pick it up for £20. That deal ends on Christmas Day, I believe. I think it's the 25th. It's
Yeah,
due to
it
end.
is.
So get it while you can. And we were talking while we were
It's
playing
a
Tomb
£30
Raider.
saving
Yeah, we were talking about Tomb Raider on the live stream, saying
for
that
6 hours.
it's clever marketing. Yeah, about 6 hours in. Clever marketing that the first game was free for December, so everyone will have played the first game by now, or at least jumped in and had a taste for it. If they enjoyed it, they will naturally look to play the second game afterwards, because you want to do them in chronological order, as all things are intended. However, the second game is $24.99, so there's a discount on the sale on the store to bring the third game down to £20. So actually, you think, well, I'm not just going to jump into the third game, but I'll buy it and bank it while it's cheap, and then inevitably spend the 25 quid on the second game of the series.
That's
Just
my
to
point.
have that collection. It's clever monetary marketing that's going to influence people if they enjoy it to jump in and buy certain
Yeah.
variations.
The one thing I think is going to let this down is the branding of the Tomb Raider things, because Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, you go, okay, that's the first one.
Hmm.
But if you didn't know which one is the second one, Rise or Shadow,
I still get confused, and I've
yeah,
platinumed them
I've got,
all.
I kept forgetting which last night while we were playing, which one was second and which one was third.
Yeah, it's Reboot, Rise, Shadow,
Yeah,
instead of 1, 2, 3.
yeah.
But there
It'd be
should be
nice if
still
they
one,
put like Tomb Raider 3, Shadow of the Tomb, Shadow.
yeah,
It
especially
doesn't, yeah,
2 years out from release now, it wouldn't hurt them to kind of repackage them, and even just for
yeah,
Stadia. And I still stand by, it should just be a Tomb Raider bundle. But
yeah,
obviously, the fact that they've gave the first one away for free kind of negates that a little bit.
yeah.
But yeah, overall,
But then you
it's
sell an upgrade to the bundle.
yeah, overall it's a deal. And we mentioned also, speaking of other deals as well, Borderlands 3 DLCs there with no Stadia logo, but that's coming. Did we get? I'll try and get a proper date for that then. Borderlands 3 DLC release date. I'm sure Tom said it was the end of the week. Yeah, the Handsome Jackpot will launch on December 19th. So yeah, this upcoming Thursday. But does that mean we will get any Stadia announcement? It must come this week. It's got to come this week. You can't do it over Christmas week because that's just stupid.
I'm hoping that the Stadia announcement, we get the Stadia announcement next week, and it'll be okay. It's the day of the DLC release.
Yeah,
That's
I'd like
my
to
hope.
think we'll get it tomorrow. I think Monday we'll get the
Yeah,
announcement. It's out this week. Comes out the 19th with the bloody not what was it, Bloody Harvest? What did I just say it was called?
it's
Forgot already. The
Moxie's
Jackpot.
heist of a handsome Jack
Yeah,
pot.
Moxie's Heist. So
Yeah,
that'll come just all free, maybe, as like a Stadia exclusive. If you buy it on Stadia, you get all the DLC up to date free, including the Bloody Harvest stuff and
it'll
the
be.
Mali One takedown such.
I think it'll be your classic. Like you got Assassin's Creed at the moment, where you got the base game and you got the ones with the season pass, like the gold. Is it gold edition stuff like that?
Hmm.
It'll be the same for Borderlands.
Super deluxe special extra Stadia segment edition,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Yeah, probably with different skins and weapons and stuff. But rewinding back to the Game Awards, we made some predictions last week regarding them. We picked our winners for each category. All of us starting at the top of the show. I don't know how you want to do this, Richie. Do you just want to go through them one by one, see who
uh,
got it right?
yeah. We'll start by saying Tom lost by default for not attending this recording.
He did. He did indeed. Tom is third out of three of
Yeah,
us. So top of the show was Game of the Year, which went to Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
yeah. Me and you predicted Death Stranding. Tom predicted Sekiro, but it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
So he got it right, but his vote is null and void because he didn't put his ballot in at the station and show up for the results, so he'll never know.
Yeah.
I mean, if he listens to the show himself, which I like to think he will, he'll probably text us all some abuse later on that he lied. And yeah, by default. But either way, Game of the Year goes to Sekiro. Surprised me. Obviously, I thought it was going to be Death Stranding or Control.
Yeah.
I didn't even put Sekiro into the mix. So that's just a massive testament to how much the kind of Soulsborne games have
Yeah, I
gone
think
from
this is
strength to
something
strength.
we probably overlook because neither is our like fans of the Soul series.
I've never
Tom
really played
is. Tom is,
Yeah,
so I think
maybe
he's a bit
that
more
insight.
clued in than that. So
Interesting. It does give me more. Anything that gets Game of the Year, I have to raise an eyebrow to it and think maybe I should give it a go.
yeah, maybe this should be a PlayStation Plus game so I can play for free.
Or a Stadia game.
Yeah. To be fair, I did get. We do have what is it? Bloodborne on PlayStation Plus, and I haven't even. I didn't. I don't think I even installed it.
I haven't either because I know the type of game it is and it's ruthless. But they make good for live streams. When we played Tomb Raider last night, we got a few points playing on a hardest difficulty where we did get stuck.
And we were awesome at Sam Show.
Yes. Oh yeah, the Samurai Showdown, which features characters similar to Sekiro.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to jump into games that you wouldn't typically play.
Yeah, something just a bit of a tempo change.
Yeah.
So speaking of tempo change, moving on to action game, best action game went to Devil May Cry 5.
And none of us got this because we all said COD.
Yeah, we all said Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Even though, again, just to clarify, Tom, if you are listening to this, it's
Your
not a
vote still doesn't matter.
remake. It's not a remake. It's a brand new game, just with the same title.
I
But
think
it
there was
didn't
something
win. Either
fishy
way.
about our predictions.
Yeah, definitely. Same puns from last night. So yeah, action game Devil May Cry 5 surprised the hell out of me. I think probably did everyone in the room because there was other games that I would have put in second and third even before getting to Devil May Cry. But I suppose it hits the category. Next one was action adventure game. I predicted Control, as did Tom. You went for Resident Evil,
I did.
and we were all wrong again. It went to Sekiro, getting its
Yeah.
second award, which I think was announced whilst that everybody was getting on stage for Game of the Year. It was one of those weird shoe-in. And the
Yeah.
action adventure game also was to Sekiro.
I still stand by Resident Evil. I think it was the fact that Resident Evil 2 was a remake that probably people didn't vote for it. But
Yeah.
when we were reading the description last week, it just summed up what that game was.
Yeah.
So
You've got to play the politics of it all. I mean,
yeah,
the next category was best art direction. The winner was Control.
incorrectly.
I again didn't think it would be Control because I thought it would have won best action adventure game. So politically, I tried to put it in a different category. And yeah, I should have went with Control, but I've changed it up because Sayonara
Yeah.
Wild Hearts is just that batshit crazy with its art direction.
Yeah.
I thought even Greece, actually, which we have had confirmed after last week's show, and we all ummed and ahed over how it's pronounced. The developers have confirmed it is Greece, but they all say Greece.
Yeah.
So Greece is the word, in fact.
And I
And
went
that's
for
how you
Link's
pronounce it.
Awakening, which is clearly the correct choice. But again, it's a
Lovely.
remake, so that might have hurt it.
Possibly, but I'm glad Control got one because it definitely deserved something.
Yeah, I need to play Control.
Yeah, you
It's
definitely do.
definitely now. It's more on my radar now than ever has been.
Good, 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 good. Best game direction. I said Control. You, Tom went with Death Stranding, but his vote doesn't count. And you
Yep.
also went with Death Stranding, and the winner was Death Stranding. So you got a point there,
Yay.
which makes it good. Games for Impact. After the Muppets did their piece, I said Concrete Genie. Tom said Kind Words. Not that his words matter anymore to either of us. And you said Greece, and the winner was Greece. So that's a point for Richie. Independent game, we unanimously voted for Untitled Goose Game. Didn't win. It was Disco Elysium.
Before the last week's podcast, I hadn't even heard of Disco
No,
Elysium.
I think it's PC only.
So, well, credit to the guys. You've clearly made a great game.
Oh yeah, and no doubt it'll be shipped to consoles.
So bring it to
next
Stadia.
year, and it'll be like one of the amazing things. But yeah, well done to Disco Elysium. Multiplayer game. I said COD. You two went with Apex. You two were right. Apex did indeed win best multiplayer game. Best ongoing game. You and me fought with Tom about it. He showed his distaste for Fortnite. He went for Final Fantasy.
The thing is, his distaste meant he went for Final Fantasy, but the logical one was Fortnite.
Yeah, totally. And Fortnite won again for totally reinventing the world. Best sport racing game went to my boy Crash Team Racing, which I'm thrilled to bits with. I expected that, and it wiped the floor with our votes and the actual winner as well. And they've just brought out an update actually for the festive season. There's 2 new levels, a bunch of new skins and map packs to win using your Crash points. So if you want to jump in and get those.
Yeah, that was one where I did go with Crash Team Racing because I think you've managed to convince me, but I was worried that it did have a bit of negative press about DLC at one point. I thought that might have hurt it, but I think I went for it because I didn't think any of the other options were that strong.
Yeah, they were just generic sports games, weren't they?
Yeah.
The star of the year. And then final category was best VR or augmented reality game. We unanimously went with Beat Saber. I think it's by far the best one on there, and rightly so it won.
Yeah, and so to actually go by the tallies, I actually made a mistake earlier, Chris, when I was putting this together.
Okay.
I forgot to give myself game direction. I completely missed it. So you actually scored 3.
Yay.
Tom scored 0 because he didn't turn up.
Well, Tom scored 5, but he gets 5 deducted from him for.
Now, this is where I thought I'd made a mistake because I thought me and Tom had tied, so that's why I was happy Tom didn't turn up because it meant I'd take the win. But I actually just scored 6, so I would beat him anyway.
There you go. So in first place, Richie, you get the best
Yay!
you get the best prediction award this year. I'll get second, silver, and Tom takes nothing because
Nothing.
he's not
Doesn't
here to
even get
collect his
the bronze
award.
award. Has been sold to charity.
It has indeed. The bronze award goes to a good cause. Right, so that brings us to the end of talk about game awards. We've got it's been quite light on the news this week, I think, in Stadia in general. We did get some stories come out kind of coinciding with the Game Awards. At select cinemas in the United States, for example, the Game Awards was broadcast within cinemas and theaters, and any of the moviegoers who actually attended, they got free Stadia Premiere editions.
That's a pretty cool giveaway, to be honest.
It's a fantastic giveaway. So essentially, yeah, it was anyone who attended, you got a little card and a voucher code to redeem at 53 Cinemark chains in the United States, and you got a bit of free merch. I think I've seen some people who got like the little pin badges and such. And
Isn't
yeah,
that wasn't that the thing? You got like a cardboard cut out the Stadia controller with a pin badge and the code.
yeah,
Like
it has a statement on it that said you're here tonight because you love games. So, and then you turn it over and it reveals a code for a free Premiere edition.
this is it. It
And
seems like Stadia they put some effort into the Game Awards without actually putting anything good.
yeah, it's
Like,
really
oh,
weird.
yeah,
It's
it's
weird.
like
I mean, this is great marketing. This is fantastic, but it should be a smaller story
yeah.
within a bigger picture of really positive
Now
promoting and pushing it.
all them guys going in go, cool. I've got Stadia Premier Edition for free. They're sat there and that's in there watching the Game Awards for 3 hours, waiting for that big reveal from Google,
Mhm. Yeah,
and they
definitely.
got
So
a TV advert.
yeah, so essentially the people who went to watch the Game Awards on the big screen,
So
and I think it
close,
was it was it was
Google. So
tied in and
close.
followed with Jumanji, the next level
Yeah,
movie with The Rock and such.
that was a great
So they paid about
partnership, to be
20
honest.
$20 for this ticket, and they've left with
Well,
$130 worth of
wasn't there a
kit.
Jumanji game announced?
Yeah, there's a tie-in to it. I've
Yeah,
seen it. It's
I,
very much got a Fortnite-esque art
yeah.
design.
I think that's why the Game
Um,
Awards partnered up with them.
yeah. Plus, it's The
Mhm.
Rock, and he works with Vin Diesel, so it's all something to do with that, I reckon. We did also see last week, off the back of little small marketing pushes from Stadia, they had their holiday pop-up shops showed up in LA, London, and Paris. We unfortunately couldn't get somebody along to London in
Or
time. We did
Paris.
we did try. I was in London the week before with work, but unfortunately, yeah, or Paris or LA. We really tried with the LA one, but our business expenses couldn't quite stretch that far.
Yeah.
We barely covered last night's pizza, to be fair. But in from what we've seen of them on Twitter and stuff, there was different variations in each pop-up branch. They were very much what they would describe as a pop-up shop. You're talking a couple of tents with a couple of like little plastic igloos with a white picket fence around them for the most part. And they were wearing, to be fair, the Stadia jackets looked cool as anything with the
Yeah.
glow zip and the kind of outline with the Stadia logo.
I think it's a cool
Um,
way, to be honest, of demonstrating the technology. Like, yeah, we're out in the street and we're playing Stadia. There you go.
yeah, no doubt they were using the power of 4G or 5G or LTE in America to stream the
Yeah.
content, and hopefully it worked great. I didn't see as much as I thought I would do online about. I know they got a few content creators to kind of show up and go through the material with people, but I didn't see that much else on Twitter or something over the course of a few days.
Yeah, it was
I
kind of
saw
a late announcement, to be honest.
it was very short notice.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like we definitely would have tried to get down to London if we'd have
Yeah.
had even just a little bit more time.
I sent a friend who lives in London trying to convince him to do some work for us.
Yeah, freelance work.
Yeah.
Luke,
Unpaid, of
that's
course.
a shout out
Unpaid.
to you, Luke. We did try, but obviously, yeah. Everyone's busy. Everyone's got schedules and stuff to
Yeah.
follow and stick to.
Especially over
Um,
Christmas.
especially over Christmas, yeah. So speaking of sticking to schedules, back to our live stream that we did. We obviously didn't stick to much of a schedule, but we were pretty much just winging it and seeing where it goes. But yeah, have you got any more news from this week, Richie?
Not
That was
really.
all. It was pretty
No.
pretty light on the Stadia front.
Yeah.
We did get a brief Stadia update around community, which I saw.
Yeah, we did.
And when I say
Brief is
brief,
a word.
they mentioned earlier in the week. I think we covered it last week's show that Google said they were going to streamline their output for Stadia announcements. So Chris at Google and Grace at Google said, "We'll come to you when we've got relevant, pertinent news." Which last week we praised them for, and we said that's
Yeah.
great. I'd rather they tell us news when it's relevant and it's meaty and it's got some substance.
It's just a
So
shame that
I'm
there's
going to
news
read
that
out. I'm going to
needs
read out
sticking
this
out.
week's update. So I'll read it out verbatim. Hey everybody, we know it's been quiet around here this week, but Chris from Google and I are still here. We don't have any significant updates to share outside of ongoing bugs here and there. We see you NBA 2K20, but we wanted to say howdy, check in with you all. So how are you doing today? Got any gaming plans for the weekend? Question mark. That was their initial output for a community event, followed with, hi everyone, thanks for taking the time to add your feedback to this thread. We've read through and continue reading every comment. Chris and I will take all your notes and turn them into a learning opportunity. Thanks for sticking around, and we genuinely appreciate your passionate feedback. So that is the Google Stadia global community update for this week.
Nothing.
Literally, hi, we still work for Google.
Yeah.
Hope you're all okay. What are you playing this weekend? Which I get it, but if the week of the Game Awards,
You got
the,
nothing.
you've got nothing, not one little tidbit, and
Nothing
a
Borderlands,
a
no
release date
the
for a
Tom
game that's
Clancy
coming.
games.
Yep.
I don't think it's not Chris. I don't think this is Chris.
Oh, it's 100% not Chris and
Yeah.
Grace's fault. But somebody needs to give him some information, because if I go over to the PlayStation blog or Major Nelson's Xbox blog or Nintendo whatever site or IGN, I guarantee I could go over to IGN and find probably a Stadia story from this week to talk about. And yeah, I feel like there's just a little bit more they can do to fill us in on information, because we talked about across the live stream. There are games that don't have dates yet that have been out on other consoles since March, February this year, and
That's
we know
late
they're
for this
coming.
year.
And we know they're coming to Google Stadia according to the website and in future news press releases this year. And here we are, 2 and a bit weeks out, and we don't even have a date. Give us a date. Companies announce dates for game releases months and months in advance. And yes, I understand some get delayed, but we still have a concrete date we work towards. A year's too ambiguous when the clock's ticking and running this far out. So hopefully, this week's announcement is going to be, hi, Chris or Grace from Google. Great news. We've finally locked down a date for Borderlands 3. It's been certified. It'll be out on the 19th. And even better news, it comes with the DLC included. Thanks for your patience. Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Actually, I think we did have, if I go back, we did have some tweets in reply to just before we wrap up this week's episode, which I read out through you and Tom. So someone on their Game Awards promotion, they promoted Rage 2 out of nowhere. The Stadia Twitter account promoted Rage 2 as almost as though it was a new release, even though it's been there since launch. And someone replied them simply saying Borderlands ? And their official response was, hey there, thanks for reaching out. While we don't have a specific date to share when Borderlands 3 will be released, we suggest keeping an eye on our social channels for updates and announcements. We don't have a specific date where it'll be released. It comes out
15 days.
Another reply straight after, when are the Tom Clancy games coming to Stadia? Reply, hi David, thanks for your tweet. Currently, we have no news to share about Tom Clancy's games. We plan on having a robust lineup of games and will continuously add a wide range of titles down the road. You can check the current list of games here. Because also, Tom Clancy Ghost Recon, supposed to be out 2019. What do you say to this?
I mean,
People are asking quite direct questions.
They just don't have the number. I don't. It'd be nice to know why they don't have the date. Oh God, yeah, we don't have the date yet. It's currently getting certified. We'll update you as soon as we hear back. That would at least give you, okay, they're working on this. But this is just no.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Can I have some games? No. Yeah.
Really weird one. But anyway, I think that brings us to the end of our news stories we have this week. We will avoid talking about a specific state, because I think the only state that we should concern ourselves with, Richie, is Tom's well-being.
Yeah.
Because clearly he needs some time to recover before doing another episode with us. Maybe we'll cut back the live stream next time round. Bless him.
Going to 2:30 in the morning was probably not the smartest move.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But either way, I think we just wanted again to thank everyone for joining us on our live stream last week, this week, yesterday. See,
Yeah.
we're all tired.
Well, it will be last week by the time I listen to this.
That is true. Forget everything I just said. Crop this out, future Chris. Crop this out so you don't look like a fool. But yeah, we wanted to thank everyone again who went over to patreon.com/sounds of Stadia in the last few weeks and signed up for the founders level, which is again only $1 or 78 pence to you in the UK. So remember, you can follow us like everyone did on the live stream. Jump in and really take some time to enjoy some of the laughs and highlights that we had last night recording the 9-hour stream. That's everything we've got for this week's show. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, especially you, Tom. We're available on all major podcasting platforms, coming to you every Monday with all the latest Stadia news and other gaming information from the game sphere out there. Hope you all have a great week. Goodbye from me.
And goodbye
from Richie. Goodbye from Tom.
Oh, Tom, you let us down.
We've been Sounds of Stadia. Thanks you very, very much for listening. Goodbye.